On the African savannah, it is not the lion, but the African wild dog that stands as the most sophisticated and relentless killer. These are not merely blood-soaked hunts, but powerful stories of loyalty, discipline, and survival in one of the harshest environments on Earth. Let us begin a journey into the lives of the true ghosts of the plains. The rhinoceros is the armored tank of the savannah, built like a fortress and armed with a razor-sharp horn that radiates raw power, despite its overwhelming strength. Even this giant occasionally draws the attention of a cunning pack of African wild dogs. In these rare encounters, the pack relies on harassment tactics, circling relentlessly, probing for any sign of weakness. Yet a single thunderous charge or a forceful snort from the rhino is often enough to send the smaller predator. The footage captures a dramatic reversal of roles when the cunning leopard decides to become the hunter instead of the one hiding. Taking advantage of a moment when the wild dogs are busy enjoying their late lunch, the leopard bursts out of the bushes like an arrow, using its terrifying speed and raw power to shock the pack. Caught completely off guard by the sudden aggression of the spotted assassin, the wild dogs scatter in confusion, abandoning the prey they had just. Surrounded by the aggressive pack of wild dogs barking loudly to intimidate it, the leopard quickly relies on its natural climbing ability to escape. In a split second, it bursts upward and races straight to the top of a towering tree, leaving the large group of frustrated opponents leaping helplessly below. Fierce circle of wild dogs closing in. The leopard doesn't choose to fight to the death, but instead displays its masterful escape skills. With one powerful surge of its body, it shoots straight up the vertical trunk of a tree, leaving behind the desperate barking and the pack's helpless leaps below.
Pretty cool, eh?
Out on the open savannah, the African wild dog pack locks onto a newborn buffalo calf as its next target, exploiting the calf's fragility and a fleeting lapse in the mother's guard. They apply relentless pressure, working methodically to isolate the vulnerable young. Though the mother fights back in desperation, the suffocating force of so many coordinated predators gradually overwhelms her defense. It is a harsh reminder of nature's unforgiving law, where a life that has only just begun can be confronted. A pack of 21 wild dogs closes in, relying on sheer numbers and iron discipline to separate the mother buffalo from her calf. Despite the mother's frantic and fearless defense, the pack's relentless wear-down strategy steadily drains the young calf's strength. Amid a cloud of dust, the chase suddenly turns into a fiery close-quarters clash. The lone hyena relies on sheer muscle as its shield, launching furious counterattacks against the wild dog's unpredictable hit-and-run tactics. But the overwhelming force of numbers trapped within the tightening circle of wild dogs, the lone hyena twists and turns, struggling to fend off lightning-fast attacks coming from every direction. Thick clouds of dust blur the scene, but they cannot hide the brutality of snapping jaws tearing at flesh. realizing the crushing pressure of the pack is slowly draining. The once peaceful waterhole suddenly erupts into chaos as two of the savannah's fiercest forces collide: hyenas and wild dogs. Driven by thirst and the lure of an easy meal, the area transforms into a fiery battleground filled with menacing growls and thunderous snapping jaws. While the wild dogs showcase their hit-and-run tactics, the leopard, a solitary phantom of the savannah, embodies refined precision and raw power, armed with elite hunting skills and the ability to vanish seamlessly into the shadows. Yet even this lone assassin must exercise caution when confronted by the iron discipline of an African wild dog pack, where individual brilliance is challenged by ruthless coordinated pack tactics. The leopard, often harassed and driven off by wild dogs, now takes the initiative and goes on the hunt. Exploiting the moment when the pack lies in deep sleep after a long, exhausting day, it approaches silently, relying on flawless stealth. Beneath the tree, the wild dog pack attempts to steal the leopard family's hard-earned meal. Using their numerical advantage, the aggressive pack surrounds the scene and applies constant pressure, determined to force the mother leopard to abandon her prey. A heart-pounding escape unfolds as the leopard is caught in the deadly encirclement of a wild dog pack. Overwhelmed by their aggressive coordinated tactics, the leopard is forced to sprint into the dense brush by the narrowest of margins, evading lethal bites in a desperate bid for survival. On the open plains of the Okavango, a leopard has just taken down its prey when it suddenly finds itself facing a pack of aggressive wild dogs. Instead of backing off before the lone predator's power, the dogs move in with perfect coordination, using sharp, piercing barks and constant snapping bites to surround and overwhelm their rival. Realizing the numbers are heavily against it, the leopard has no choice but to abandon the fresh kill and retreat up a nearby tree. From high above, it can only watch. Elephants are truly the uncrowned kings of the savannah, possessing both remarkable intelligence and overwhelming physical power. Encounters between them and African wild dogs unfold like a tense symphony of survival. While the pack may rely on bold numbers and harassment tactics to test smaller or vulnerable individuals, the matriarch responds with absolute authority, with ears spread wide and a thunderous the beast, a stubborn giant with a powerful build and razor-sharp horns, is always a formidable challenge on the savannah thanks to its strong survival instincts. Yet even that raw power can be tested when it encounters one of nature's greatest tactical hunters, the African wild dog. What follows is a clash between brute strength and relentless strategy on one side, with seamless coordination and perfectly timed, strategic bites. The pack of wild dogs ultimately brings the massive wildebeest under complete control. Overwhelmed by their blistering speed and a relentless encirclement that leaves no escape, the giant soon begins to tire. In the end, the powerful grazer collapses, defeated by the brutal efficiency and collective strength of these. with frightening persistence. The pack of wild dogs relentlessly pursues the antelope, draining its strength along a deadly path of exhaustion. Despite its impressive size and power, the prey ultimately collapses under the relentless layers of pressure, slowly becoming trapped in a tightening maze of hunters with no escape in sight. By splitting into smaller groups to surround and cut off escape routes with careful calculation, the pack of wild dogs completely neutralizes the prey's advantage in speed. This seamless coordination not only drains the target's strength with ruthless efficiency, but also highlights the overwhelming power of disciplined teamwork against the desperate bursts of a lone. 13. If wild dogs represent discipline and speed, then the hyena stands as the embodiment of brute strength and ruthless cunning. Armed with jaws powerful enough to crush bone, the hyena is the ultimate opportunistic raider, always ready to snatch victory from the hard work of others. When these two hares are true sprinting athletes, built with powerful spring-loaded legs that let them pivot sharply at speeds of up to 70 kilometers per hour. In a life-or-death showdown with African wild dogs, the most relentless predators of the wild, the hare relies not only on speed, but on sharp instinct and strategy. It launches into dramatic zigzag leaps, switching directions in an instant, forcing even the most seasoned pack hunters to struggle to keep up through those brutal high-speed turns. On one side stands the tireless endurance of the pack. On the other, explosive agility and split-second reflexes, together creating a heart-stopping chase where speed becomes the razor-thin line between life and death. In Simbavati, young wild dogs reveal their killer instincts early as they work together to surround a hare. Even though they are not yet fully grown, they move with surprising coordination, bringing the prey down and turning the hunt into a dramatic real-life lesson in survival. Across a forest blanketed in white snow, a dramatic chase unfolds between a pack of wild dogs and a fleeing hare. Against the frozen backdrop, the relentless hunters move in perfect coordination, closing in on the small prey as it darts and swerves in a desperate fight for survival. Beneath the dry brush, a lightning-fast hunt ends in the raw brutality of instinct. The moment the hare is caught, the pack shows no hesitation. Each wild dog lunges in immediately. Driven by collective force, they pull in opposite directions, and within seconds, the small prey is torn apart. Right on the asphalt roads of Kruger, a pack of wild dogs puts its ruthless coordination on full display as it corners a hare. In a flash, the killers surge forward together, yanking the prey in different directions and bringing the hunt to a brutal end in just a matter of seconds. The zebra stands as a symbol of speed, armed with a rear kick capable of delivering devastating force. When confronted by a pack of wild dogs, it does more than flee. It fights back with fierce determination. Though the dogs rely on relentless pursuit to exhaust their prey, a zebra can force its attackers to retreat with a single well-aimed strike powerful enough to shatter a jaw. Surrounded by tireless predators, one precise kick may represent its only true chance of survival. Wildebeest, a stubborn giant with a powerful build and razor-sharp horns, is always a formidable challenge on the savannah thanks to its strong survival instincts. Yet even that raw power can be tested when it encounters one of nature's greatest tactical hunters, the African wild dog. What follows is a clash between Along the forest's edge, an aggressive pack of wild dogs charges forward, driving a herd of zebras away from contested ground. Faced with the predator's intensity and coordinated advance, the zebras choose to withdraw, avoiding an unnecessary and dangerous confrontation. It stands as yet another testament to the dominance wild dogs can assert, even over opponents far larger than themselves. Spreading out in formation with frightening persistence, the pack of wild dogs relentlessly pursues the antelope, draining its strength along a deadly path of exhaustion. Despite its impressive size and power, the prey ultimately collapses under the relentless layers of pressure, slowly becoming trapped in a tightening maze of hunters with no escape in sight. Turning itself into a living fortress, the antelope unleashes thunderous back kicks and swings its razor-sharp horns to drive away every wave of attack. Against this solid wall of defense, the pack of wild dogs, despite their frantic attempts to surround and overwhelm, African elephants are the wise giants of the wild, possessing remarkable intelligence and tightly bonded family structures. Weighing up to 6 tons and armed with powerful tusks, they stand as symbols of immense strength, capable of reshaping the very landscape of the savannah. Yet even these living fortresses are not entirely free from danger. In rare confrontations, cunning packs of African wild dogs may attempt harassment tactics targeting vulnerable calves. In response, the elephant herd swiftly forms a defensive wall, using their massive bodies as an unbreakable shield to drive back the small but relentless predators. At the Savuti waterhole in Botswana, a fascinating standoff unfolds as a solitary giant comes face to face with a relentless pack of painted wolves. Driven by a territorial instinct over the precious water source, the elephant repeatedly bellows and launches mock charges in an effort to intimidate the intruders. Yet, rather than retreat in fear, the wild dogs display striking confidence. Using their agility to their advantage, they swiftly dodge and weave, circling the elephant's legs in what appears almost like a high-speed game. This encounter is not one of lethal force, but rather a battle of wits, a clash between commanding strength and cunning agility, where in the end, the elephant begrudgingly accepts the presence of his small, yet remarkably bold neighbors. The entire elephant herd forms a unified front to protect its youngest members. Unlike the solitary nature of a bull elephant, the adult females stand shoulder to shoulder, trumpeting in warning and surging forward together like an unbreakable wall of living force. Faced with overwhelming power and thunderous roars that seem to shake the ground itself, the pack of wild dogs quickly recognizes the danger and is forced to retreat. At the waterhole, the elephant wields his trunk and unleashes forceful mock charges to assert dominance, determined to keep exclusive control over the vital water source. Yet the wild dogs remain unfazed. They scatter strategically, using their speed to circle and taunt the towering giant. This confrontation becomes a striking intersection of raw power and cunning agility, revealing the tense boundary that exists between species in the relentless struggle for survival resources. At the Bush House waterhole, a massive bull elephant erupts in fury at the sight of a pack of wild dogs occupying his space. This is no routine warning. The enraged giant charges head-on at full speed, trumpeting thunderously and slamming his trunk against the water in a powerful display of dominance. Confronted with the overwhelming force of the furious behemoth, even the swift and agile wild dogs have no choice but to scatter quickly to avoid being crushed. A herd of elephants steps in to rescue a hippopotamus that has been surrounded by a pack of wild dogs. As the predators press their relentless attack, the commanding arrival of the elephants, marked by thunderous trumpets and forceful charges, sends the wild dogs into a sudden panic, driving them to retreat in haste. Across the vast grasslands, antelopes appear like proud whirlwinds capable of explosive bursts of speed to escape the jaws of death. Yet even this remarkable advantage becomes fragile against the pragmatic and relentless hunting style of African wild dogs. Rather than relying on a single lightning-fast strike, the pack turns the chase into a brutal endurance trial, pursuing their target without mercy until it is completely exhausted. It is a ruthless contest between the elegance of swift-pounding hooves and the persistent, coordinated strategy of predators that simply do not tire. A pack of wild dogs corners an antelope at the very edge of a cliff. Caught on the razor's edge between life and death, the prey faces an impossible choice: confront the bloodthirsty jaws closing in, or risk a desperate leap into the sheer abyss below. Working in seamless coordination, the pack of wild dogs brings down its target with chilling speed and precision. Rather than delivering a suffocating throat bite like the big cats, they immediately begin tearing into their prey, wasting no time in order to consume their kill before rival predators arrive on the scene. Along the riverbank, a pack of wild dogs surrounds and brings down a helpless impala. With superior speed and flawless coordination, they swiftly overpower and dispatch their target, acting in accordance with the unforgiving laws of survival that govern the wild. In a suffocating siege, a pack of wild dogs sets its sights on a powerful sable antelope. Despite their numbers and relentless encirclement tactics, the dogs hesitate in the face of the antelope's steely resolve and its long, formidable horns. The encounter becomes a grueling test of courage and skill, a clash between cunning predators and a proud warrior of the savannah that refuses to yield.